History is usually written by the winners, but sometimes it's shaped by people who almost changed everything. A bomb that ticks 1 minute too long. A letter opened by the wrong hands. A secret exposed just before it becomes permanent. Plots whispered in back rooms. Oaths taken in shadows. Plans so close to success you can practically feel the world holding its breath. If even one detail had gone differently, your life right now might look nothing like it does. Different borders, different leaders, different futures. Tonight we're stepping into 5 conspiracies that came within inches of rewriting history, and the tiny accidents that stopped them. And trust me, some of these failures were pure luck. Let's begin. The gunpowder plot. The night Parliament almost vanished. London, the year 1605, cold air crawling through stone streets. Inside the cellars beneath Parliament, barrels sit stacked in the dark, silent, ordinary, except they are packed with enough gunpowder to erase a government in seconds. Upstairs, England prepares for ceremony. The king will arrive. Lords, bishops, politicians, the entire ruling structure gathered in one place. One spark. That's all it would take. The conspirators believe they are instruments of justice. If the explosion succeeds, the monarchy collapses, chaos follows, and a new order can rise. Guy Fawkes waits underground, ready, but miles away a letter is delivered. Anonymous. A warning. Authorities search, they descend into the cellar, torches flicker, boots scrape stone, and there he is. Fawkes, matches in his pocket. Moments from immortality, he is arrested, tortured, executed. England survives the night, and every year after, fireworks celebrate a disaster that never happened. But imagine if the letter had arrived a day later. No king, no parliament, a power vacuum in one of Europe's most important nations. History balanced on paper. If near misses like this fascinate you, subscribe, because the next plot came terrifyingly close to destroying a dictatorship from the inside. Operation Valkyrie, the bomb that failed to kill Hitler. The year 1944. A wooden conference table in East Prussia, windows open, maps spread. Officers gathered tightly around Adolf Hitler. Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg places a briefcase under the table. Inside is a bomb. He salutes, leaves the room. Minutes later, explosion, smoke, screams, walls shattered. For a moment, the conspirators in Berlin believe it worked. They activate the plan. Orders are sent to arrest Nazi leadership. Control is shifting. But Hitler is alive. The heavy table leg deflected the blast. He survives. By nightfall, loyalty flips back. The conspirators are hunted, executed. Thousands linked to the plot will die in retaliation. The war continues. Months more destruction, millions more deaths. All because of the position of a briefcase. Imagine if it had worked. Would the war have ended sooner? Would Europe look different? We will never know. History turned on furniture. The business plot. A coup against America. The year 1933, the Great Depression. Fear everywhere. Franklin D. Roosevelt is president, promising reform, but some powerful men are furious. Industrial leaders, financiers. They believe democracy is moving too far, so they approach a retired Marine general, Smedley Butler, a war hero. They want him to lead veterans in a march on Washington, take control, install a new order. They promise money, influence, support. But Butler does something unexpected. He reports it Congress holds hearings. Newspapers whisper. Many Americans dismiss it as impossible. Surely no one would attempt something like that. No one is punished. No coup happens. But the idea hangs in the air. What if Butler had agreed? What if soldiers marched? In fragile moments, legitimacy can collapse fast. Sometimes a nation survives because one person says no. If you want more stories where history almost flipped upside down, subscribe. Because this next conspiracy unfolded in ink and secrecy. The Babington Plot. A queen one letter away from death. The year 1586. Mary, Queen of Scots, imprisoned but still dangerous. Catholic supporters want her on the throne, so they plan to kill Queen Elizabeth. Letters are written in cipher, smuggled in beer barrels, promises of rescue, of uprising, of restoration. Mary replies. She approves. But Elizabeth's spies are already reading everything. They allow the plan to continue, gathering proof. The trap closes slowly. Babington and his co-conspirators are arrested, executed. Mary herself is put on trial. Her letter becomes evidence. She is beheaded. Elizabeth survives. Protestant rule continues. An empire grows, all because secret messages were never truly secret. Had the code remained unbroken, England's future might have reversed overnight. The assassination of Julius Caesar, the conspiracy that almost saved a republic. Rome. The year 44 before Christ. Senators whisper in marble corridors. They believe Caesar is becoming a king. If Rome loses its republic, they lose everything. So they plan. Daggers hidden. Trust shattered. On the Ides of March they strike. Caesar falls. For a moment, they believe they have saved Rome, but crowds do not celebrate. Chaos spreads, power vacuums invite ambition. Within years, the Republic collapses anyway. An empire rises. Augustus becomes emperor. The conspirators achieve their goal and lost the future. Sometimes a conspiracy works and still fails. The Manhattan Project leak. The secret that slipped through fingers. The year 1945, New Mexico desert, barbed wire, guard towers, scientists rushing between buildings carrying calculations that could end the world. The atomic bomb is almost ready. The United States believes the project is sealed tighter than anything in history. Thousands of workers, yet almost no one knows the full picture. Compartmentalized, controlled. But inside the program, information is already moving, quietly. Physicists with doubts. Ideologues with loyalties elsewhere, couriers memorizing numbers instead of writing them down. By the time the first bomb falls on Hiroshima, Soviet intelligence already has pieces of the design. Within a few years, they test their own. The nuclear monopoly vanishes. An arms race begins. Duck and cover drills, fallout shelters, decades of fear. The conspiracy wasn't to destroy the project, it was to copy it. And it worked. But here's the twist. If American security had been just slightly tighter, would the Cold War have looked different? Would one superpower have dominated long enough to change the balance forever? We don't know, because history turned on whispers between scientists. The 20 July second attempt. The explosion that almost changed the Middle East. The year 1990. A motorcade moves through the streets of Baghdad. Inside one vehicle, Saddam Hussein. Hidden nearby, conspirators wait with explosives. They believe removing one man could end a regime of fear. They detonate, smoke, confusion. But Saddam survives. The plan collapses instantly. Arrests follow. Executions follow faster. The regime hardens. Paranoia deepens and the opportunity vanishes. If the attempt had succeeded, Iraq might have faced a completely different decade. Different wars, different alliances, different suffering. Instead, one survivor reshaped everything that came after. Sometimes a failed moment echoes louder than a successful one. Watergate, the burglary that almost stayed buried. Washington, D.C. The year 1972. 5 men slip into an office complex in the dark. Tape on doors, gloves, cameras ready. They are there to gather intelligence. Political espionage. Routine, they think. Except a security guard notices something small, tape where it shouldn't be. Police arrive, arrests. At first it seems minor, but reporters start digging. Threads connect. Money trails, phone calls. The conspiracy rises, layer by layer, until it reaches the Oval Office. President Richard Nixon resigns. Trust in government fractures for a generation. But imagine if the guard had walked past, if the tape stayed unnoticed. Would the presidency have grown more powerful? Would abuses have continued unseen? A piece of adhesive changed American history. Jeffrey Epstein, the mystery that refuses to close. New York, the year 2019. A jail cell, cameras, guards. One of the most connected men in the world is awaiting trial, accused of crimes that could expose powerful figures across politics, finance, and entertainment. Then the news breaks. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Officials rule it a suicide, but almost immediately, questions explode. How did the cameras fail? Why were guards asleep? Why were procedures ignored? People on every side begin to speculate. Some believe powerful interests wanted him silenced. Others argue incompetence and coincidence are enough to explain tragedy. Investigations are launched, reports are written, yet doubt remains. Because Epstein carried secrets, names, stories, and with him gone, answers seem buried. So the theory grows louder. What if he isn't dead? What if someone helped him disappear? No confirmed evidence supports that claim. Authorities maintain he died in custody, but the lack of trust, the strange errors, the missing clarity, they keep the door open in the public imagination. A modern conspiracy fueled not by proof, but by absence. And that might be the most powerful ingredient of all. We are left with a question that refuses to fade. Was it failure? Was it cover-up? Or was it simply a tragedy people cannot accept? Right now, no one can say for certain, and maybe that uncertainty is why the story will never truly end.